pyramids. These world-renowned monumental structures were built by aliens.
In correlation to that, the three main points that prove this theory are, first of all, the fact that the pyramids must have been built by someone who was way ahead of the ancient Egyptian mindset in terms of intellect. Secondly, the fact that so many opposing civilizations tried their best to destroy ancient Egyptians' vital historical information was a reflection of their jealousy of how far the Egyptians had reached and how much they knew. Lastly, the actual structural component of the pyramids and how large they were in size. All these 3 points are great contributing factors that help to prove the theory of how the pyramids were built by aliens.
When a country receives approximately 14.7 million visitors per year for a particular attraction, some controversy is bound to occur. When we discuss the monumental structures lying in the land of the Nile, we often ponder upon the theories of who built the pyramids and how. Many argue to support their theories of how they think these great structures came about, but keeping in mind the astounding structural characteristics of a pyramid, the most fitting theory is that the pyramids were built by aliens.
When it comes to studying the depths of the ancient world, many questions remain unanswered due to the gap of time. Egyptians and their modernity in terms of architecture of the pyramids had led many outsiders to feel jealousy in comparison to their own levels of competence. For example, during the fire of the Julius Caesar Civil War, the Library of Alexandria, the largest and most significant libraries of the ancient world, was burnt down, thus resulting in the loss of many scrolls and books. Whether or not the burning down of the library was intentional, it still caused the ancient Egyptian world a great loss. Those books and scrolls could have been a gateway for the modern archaeologists to maybe uncover the secrets of the pyramids and a lot of other vital information. It was most likely that these scrolls may have contained information or proof about the extraterrestrial work of the pyramids. Other civilizations, not wanting the Egyptians to further develop, most likely have caused this damage.
Another contributing factor to this theory is that the size of each of the stones itself was 2 tons. That too built into a perfect square base, which just seems very unrealistic, an outrageous weight for someone to carry. Even with the help of thousands of men, lots of time and resources on hand, and money, this theory still seems quite unrealistic. A more reasonable explanation would be that someone with smarter technology and higher knowledge could have done this. The aliens again come into play, considering the wheel was not yet invented, so that could not have been one of the possibilities. Other possibilities just seem silly when taking into account the size of the pyramids. Also, a crucial point is that the ancient Egyptians almost always documented everything they did, every king they had, and every war they fought, and every structure they ever built. Yet there were no records of them ever having built the pyramids, so why would they leave out such a remarkable part of history? Maybe because it was not them who built these structures, it was the aliens. Although the Egyptians may have been ahead of the other civilizations, they were still not smart enough to have built the pyramids to the point of precision that they have been built to. For example, the use of pi, the use of directions through the help of a compass, and the calendar were all elements used in the making of these colossal structures. What's shocking is that neither one of these elements were yet invented. The mystery remains in the fact that none of these geometrical, geographical, or mathematical discoveries were yet made. It is startling to think that the perimeter of the pyramids divided 2 times by its height is equivalent to the exact number of pi, all the way up to the 15th digit. Seeing as pi was not calculated accurately even to the 4th digit until the 6th century, the chances of this phenomenon being a mere coincidence are quite small. Aside from that, the Great Pyramid is also said to be lined up almost perfectly with the magnetic North Pole. Keeping in mind the compass wasn't invented 1,000 years after the Egyptians were long gone, how could they have achieved this? At this point, one opposing to the alien theory cannot just justify everything with the ideology of coincidence. Yet another element used in the process of building these structures was the use of the calendar. In many photographs, it has been captured that during the evening of the summer solstice, the sun sets right between the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx. For the Egyptians to do this, they must have had to have knowledge of the exact days of the summer solstice. which could only arise from the exact knowledge of the length of a year, and that would only come from knowing what a calendar is. Again, a fact that was not known to them. Keeping all this in mind and not being childish to think that this was all a coincidence, there must have had to be someone or something with abundant knowledge or higher power than the people of the ancient world to have made this happen, and that has to be the aliens.
While the theories concerning the aliens are very popular, the people who are against this theory would argue that they're baseless or silly. Many would rather stick to the theories of slaves and workers. In ancient times, it must have been a lot easier under the rule of one governing pharaoh to give out specific instructions, and in a result, a large number of men may have all been put to work all for the same task, which would be the construction of the pyramids. They had expertise in stonework because they did not rely on machinery as much as the people of the modern world do. This is a point that someone from the opposing argument would use to support their opinion. Another point they would make is that if aliens built the pyramids, why would the ancient people risk burying their pharaohs in a structure built by unknown forces? The point is that the construction of the pyramids was a learning process. They would say that it is true that the Egyptians failed while constructing the earliest pyramids, but over time, through trial and error, they were able to perfect their work. Called Egypt's Mysteries was a great informative documentary with detailed explanations. The fact that it's more of a latest documentary helps because the points are not outdated. I would suggest and recommend it to a grade 11 class that wishes to be informed upon the alien theory and take a closer look at what professionals have to say regarding this theory. Also, thinking from an analytical point of view, theories other from the alien theory all suggest unrealistic and vague justifications for their opinions. The fact is that the pyramids, the buildings which can be seen all the way from outer space, are no joke, and are not the work of ordinary people of the ancient world. No matter the amount of resources, workers, or money that any pharaoh could have put forth into such a project, it would have simply not been possible. Come to think of it, the Egyptians lacked basic understanding of most of the concepts utilized in the construction process of the pyramid. They did not know what pi was, and the compass was not even close to being invented, and nor was the calendar. As well, the monstrous size of each stone was 2 tons. Without trying to underestimate the ancient Egyptians' capabilities, these monumental pyramids just could have not been possible for them to build. These colossal structures have been built to such precision, accuracy, and intelligence that other theories just do not do justice to the making of these structures. Despite all the other points and theories considered,